Have you ever stood in front of a great monument and felt small, not just in size, but in time? Imagine walking through the desert heat, the sand stretching endlessly, and then suddenly, the Great Pyramid of Giza rises before you. Its sheer scale almost bends your perception. Stone upon stone, perfectly stacked, forming an eternal mountain of human achievement. And then the thought strikes: this was built more than 4,000 years ago, long before cranes, power tools, or laser levels. Massive limestone and granite blocks, some weighing up to 80 tons, cut and fitted with such precision that even a razor blade can't slip through the seams. Even today, with advanced machines, lasers, and modern engineering, replicating such a structure would be a monumental challenge. So how did the ancient Egyptians do it? With copper chisels, wooden sleds, and ropes, as the textbooks claim? Or is there more to this story, some forgotten knowledge, some hidden technology that simply shouldn't exist in the ancient world? Today, we're diving deep into that question. This isn't just about marveling at the pyramids as tourist attractions. It's about examining the details, the anomalies, and the evidence that doesn't quite fit the story we've been told. Evidence that suggests the ancients may have had tools, techniques, and knowledge that we've either forgotten or never truly understood. By the end of this journey, you may find yourself questioning not just Egyptian history, but the story of human civilization itself. Let's begin with something seemingly simple, yet utterly mind-boggling: the way they cut stone. The Egyptians didn't only build with soft limestone. They worked with granite, diorite, and basalt, stones so hard that even today, quarrying and shaping them requires diamond-tipped saws. And yet, in temples and pyramids, we find massive granite blocks carved and polished with astonishing precision. At sites like Abu Roash and the Temple of Osiris, the surfaces are so smooth they reflect light like mirrors. Engineers who've studied these stones often shake their heads. These are not the rough scars of hammer and chisel. They look like they were machined, as though cut with tools thousands of years ahead of their time. Mainstream archaeology offers one explanation: copper saws, sand, and water, slowly grinding through stone. But think about the scale. To cut even a single block this way would take weeks, maybe months. Multiply that by thousands of blocks, each massive in size, and the logistics become staggering. Are we to believe a civilization devoted centuries of painstaking work, using nothing but copper tools, to achieve results that rival modern technology? Or is there a missing piece of the puzzle, something about their methods that we haven't yet uncovered? Now, let's turn to something even stranger: the mysterious drill holes. Perhaps the most controversial evidence of advanced techniques comes from cylindrical stone cores found in Egypt. These cores, pulled from granite, one of the hardest stones on Earth, bear spiral grooves, as if carved by a powerful rotary drill. Mainstream explanations insist these were made with bow drills and abrasive sand. But here's the catch: the depth, the consistency, and especially the spiral pattern suggest speeds and pressures far beyond what hand-powered tools could produce. In modern engineering labs, experts point out that these marks resemble those left by modern diamond-tipped drills. If that's the case, how is it possible? Did the Egyptians invent a drilling technique that was later lost to time? Or was this evidence of knowledge passed down from an earlier, forgotten civilization? And then there's the matter of astronomical alignment. The Great Pyramid isn't just a pile of stones, it's a precision instrument. It is aligned with true north to within 1/15 of a degree. That's a level of accuracy even modern surveyors would struggle to achieve without GPS or advanced theodolites. So how did a civilization, thousands of years before telescopes and compasses, manage this? Some argue they tracked the stars for generations, refining their measurements over centuries. Others believe they had a far more sophisticated understanding of astronomy than we give them credit for. The layout of the pyramids mirrors the stars of Orion's belt almost perfectly. Was this just symbolism, a reflection of their mythology? Or was it evidence of advanced knowledge, knowledge we've only recently begun to rediscover? Perhaps the most dramatic clue lies in the unfinished obelisk at Aswan. This gigantic stone, over 1,200 tons in weight, lies half-carved in the bedrock of a granite quarry. Walk among it and you'll see the marks, the channels where workers tried to free it from the earth. But here's what makes it fascinating. The tool marks don't look like rough chisel strikes. They look like smooth, scooped-out channels, as though a powerful cutting device, something with immense force, was slicing through solid granite like butter. If all they had were copper chisels, these marks make little sense. The obelisk was abandoned because cracks appeared in the stone. But what remains is like a frozen time capsule, showing us a process that defies conventional explanation. All of this forces us to ask the bigger question: were the Egyptians truly working with advanced technology? Or have we underestimated their ingenuity? Some researchers argue that the Egyptians inherited knowledge from an earlier, forgotten civilization, perhaps one that thrived before the end of the last ice age, more than 12,000 years ago. Myths and legends across cultures, from Plato's story of Atlantis to Egypt's own tales of Zeb-Tepi, the first time, speak of golden ages and great floods that wiped out entire civilizations. Could these be distant memories of real events, preserved as myth? Others suggest the Egyptians may have discovered ingenious methods that we simply don't understand. Maybe they knew how to harness sound vibrations to move stone, or how to use water pressure in ways we've forgotten. Ancient traditions are full of hints about sound, resonance, and cosmic energy, concepts we dismiss but perhaps shouldn't. And this is where I want to hear from you. Do you think the Egyptians had access to advanced technology, something beyond their supposed age? Or do you believe we've underestimated what human determination and cleverness can achieve with simple tools? Could these mysteries be evidence of a forgotten chapter of history? Or are we simply looking at ancient engineering brilliance with fresh eyes? Share your perspective in the comments. The debate is still alive, and your ideas might open up new angles that others haven't considered. What's undeniable is this: ancient Egypt reminds us that human history is not as straightforward as we think. These monuments challenge our assumptions. They remind us that progress isn't always linear, and that perhaps we've lost as much knowledge as we've gained. And maybe that's the real lesson. The pyramids aren't just tombs, they're timeless puzzles, standing silently under the desert sun, daring us to unlock their secrets. But let's not stop with tools and astronomy, because the mysteries go even deeper. Take the sheer logistics of pyramid construction. We're told that tens of thousands of laborers worked for decades, hauling stones on sledges across the desert. Yet there's a problem. To build the Great Pyramid within the commonly accepted timeline, one block would have had to be placed every 2 minutes, working around the clock, without a single mistake. Imagine the coordination, the precision, and the endurance required. Even with modern project management and machinery, such efficiency would be mind-blowing. Could there have been an organizational system, or even mechanical assistance, that we've overlooked? Then there's the question of transportation. Some blocks used in temples and pyramids were quarried miles away, transported across rivers and overland routes. The famous Colossi of Memnon, 2 massive statues weighing over 700 tons each, were carved from a single piece of stone, and somehow moved more than 400 miles from their quarry. How do you drag something that heavy across uneven terrain without modern cranes, trucks, or reinforced roads? Theories range from massive sledges and lubricated sand to rolling logs, but none seem to fully explain the scale and smoothness of the operation. Could water canals, barges, or even lost engineering devices have been part of their toolkit? And let's consider acoustics. Several ancient chambers, especially within the Great Pyramid and the Temple of Hathor at Dendera, have unusual acoustic properties. Certain frequencies resonate perfectly within the walls, amplifying sound in ways that feel almost otherworldly. Some researchers speculate that the Egyptians understood resonance and vibration not only for spiritual rituals, but perhaps as a practical tool. Could they have harnessed sound to aid in cutting, moving, or even levitating stone? It sounds like science fiction, but experiments today show that sound waves can indeed move particles and even levitate small objects. Were the ancients experimenting with principles we're only beginning to explore again? Now, shift your attention underground. Beneath the sands of Egypt lie miles of tunnels, hidden chambers, and mysterious shafts. At places like Saqqara, archaeologists have uncovered enormous granite boxes weighing up to 100 tons, buried deep underground. The precision of their cuts is astonishing, their corners sharp, their surfaces polished as if by machine. Some suggest they were sarcophagi for sacred bulls, but no evidence of remains has been found in many of them. Others believe they were some form of energy storage, or even remnants of an advanced technology we don't yet understand. Why go through the impossible effort of lowering such massive granite boxes underground, unless their purpose was truly extraordinary? Another enigma is water. Evidence suggests that at the time the pyramids were built, the Nile River flowed much closer to the Giza Plateau. Some theories propose that canals and basins allowed blocks to be floated almost directly to the construction site. In fact, traces of water erosion on the Sphinx suggest that parts of Egypt's monuments are far older than traditionally believed, perhaps dating back to an era when heavy rains fell on the desert thousands of years earlier than Egypt's official timeline. If true, it could rewrite history, pushing the origins of Egyptian civilization back by millennia. But beyond the practical mysteries, there is symbolism, an entire language carved into stone. The Great Pyramid is not just a structure, it's encoded with mathematics. The ratio of its height to its base perimeter approximates pi. Its dimensions also reflect the golden ratio, a proportion found throughout nature, art, and architecture across cultures. Some researchers even argue that the pyramid encodes the dimensions of the Earth itself, its polar radius, its circumference, and even its relation to celestial cycles. Was this all a coincidence? Or did the builders possess a level of mathematical and scientific understanding that rivals our own? And then there's the Sphinx. This colossal guardian has watched over the plateau for thousands of years, yet its origin remains cloaked in mystery. Erosion patterns suggest its body may be far older than its head, which appears to have been recarved at some point. Could the Sphinx predate dynastic Egypt, serving as a relic from a forgotten civilization? If so, then what we call Egyptian history may actually be the continuation of something far older, something erased by time, floods, or catastrophe. The myths of Egypt themselves speak of a lost age. The ancient texts tell us of Zeb-Tepi, the first time, when gods walked the earth and imparted wisdom to humanity. Many dismiss this as mythology, but myths often carry fragments of memory. Could Zeb-Tepi be a distant echo of an advanced civilization wiped out by cataclysm, whose knowledge the Egyptians inherited and preserved in symbolic form? This question connects Egypt not only to its own past but to legends across the globe: Atlantis in Greece, the Golden Ages of Mesopotamia, the flood myths of countless cultures. Of course, we must be careful. Some argue that what we call lost technology may simply be the result of thousands of workers using clever but simple methods. They say that with enough manpower, time, and will, humans can accomplish what seems impossible. And perhaps that's true. But doesn't it also raise another mystery? If humans 4,000 years ago could organize, innovate, and build at such a scale without advanced tools, what does that say about the limits of human potential today? And finally, there is the greatest mystery of all, the purpose. Why were the pyramids built in the first place? The standard story says they were tombs for pharaohs. Yet, no mummies have been found inside the Great Pyramid. The chambers inside don't resemble typical burial sites, and the sheer effort involved seems far beyond what a tomb would require. Some theories suggest they were power plants, astronomical observatories, or even initiation chambers for spiritual transformation. Whatever the truth may be, the pyramids stand as more than monuments. They are questions carved in stone, questions that refuse to fade.